Hi everyone, welcome back to Workshop 6. Today we're going to be learning a lot of new important things. I feel like I say this every time, but every time it is the case. So in particular, today we are going to be learning about writing functions. So as you've seen, probably have noticed, we've only been working within one function so far, int main, right, our main function of the program. But now you're going to learn how to write your own. So this will make your code much more manageable, much more easy to work with as you begin working with larger projects. So in particular, you'll learn about writing functions, how to pass and receive values through those functions. You'll learn about global variables, and you'll also very briefly learn about references and how references work with regard to functions. So like always, we'll start with a series of smaller projects that will build up into a larger project. And I will say that today's project is going to be our largest one yet, and it is probably the largest one we'll make in the series in general. So what we're going to do is recreate the classic tic-tac-toe game, which you may initially think, that's not that complicated, right? It's just a small grid with a series of X's and O's. But in this case, we will actually be programming it so you can play against the computer. So in other words, we're going to be programming a basic AI, artificial intelligence. It's going to be very simple, very rudimentary, but it will take a bit of work to think it through. So in addition to that, we'll learn about pseudocode and how to plan functions ahead of time to make your coding practices easier. We'll have a lot to cover. So just keeping that in mind, I'm going to go against my usual advice, at least just for today, and at least just for the tic-tac-toe program. It might just be easier to pull up in the source files the completed program, the completed tic-tac-toe program that I've already created, and to just follow along instead of writing it all out yourself. As I said, it is a larger program, and there's quite a lot going on, so it would take some time for you to sit out and write it all out yourself. As long as you can go through and understand what each part of the program is doing, I think that should be sufficient. In general, what you're trying to understand here is how functions work both individually and how they can work together in a larger project environment. It's very important to begin thinking about how you go about coding in terms of functions, starting to think about how you organize in terms of functions. So, there's no need to rush through the lesson plans, but absolutely make sure you're understanding everything as you go. Obviously don't want to give you homework or anything like that necessarily, right? But if you don't make it all the way through the lesson plan, perhaps you could go back and look through it later. That might be prudent for your own learning. In general, as I said before, we are creating an actual computer opponent in this workshop, so it is a bit more complex. But I hope you will have fun learning about functions and seeing all the possibilities that functions can open up for you while coding. So thanks and good luck.